helping all Americans know the Black past than Dr. Woodson. He formed the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, now known as the Association for the Study of African American Life History, in September 1915. Its purpose was dedicated to researching and promoting achievements by Black Americans and other people of African descent. On February 7, 1926, he launched the first celebration of Negro History Week, choosing the second week of February to coincide with the birthdays of two great men, President Abraham Lincoln, born February 12th, acknowledged for the Emancipation Proclamation, and Frederick Douglass, born February 14th, a famed abolitionist who escaped slavery. It disturbed Dr. Woodson to find that Black youth did not learn about their true history in elementary and secondary schools. He spent decades leading up to his death in 1950, working to meet the growing popularity of the celebration he created. Dr. Woodson believed that history was made by people, and not simply and primarily by great men. Though he was fond of both men, Woodson had never been fond of the celebration being held in their honor. He envisioned the study and the celebration of the Negro race, not simply as producers of great men. Although Lincoln fought hard for the rights of Blacks, he did not free the slaves. The Union Army, formed of 180,000 free Black soldiers and sailors and escaped slaves, did that. Rather than focus on two great men, he believed the focus should be on the countless Black men and women who contributed to the advancement of human civilization. From the beginning, Woodson was overwhelmed by the response of his call. Negro History Week appeared across the country, in schools and before the public. The 1920s was the decade of the New Negro, a name given to the post-war one generation because of its rising racial pride and consciousness. Urbanization and industrialization had brought over 1 million African Americans from the rural South into big cities of the nation. The expanding middle class became participants in and consumers of Black literature and culture. Black clubs sprang up. Teachers demanded material to instruct their students, and progressive whites stepped up and endorsed their efforts. Dr. Woodson and the association scrambled to meet the demand. They set a theme for the annual celebration, provided study materials, pictures, lessons for teachers, plays for historical performances, and posters of important dates and people. Provisioned with a steady flow of knowledge, high schools in progressive communities formed Negro history clubs. To serve the desire of history buffs to participate in the re-education of black folks and the nation, the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History formed branches that stretched from coast to coast. As the population grew, mayors issued Negro History Week proclamation, and in the city of Syracuse, progressive whites joined Negro History Week with National Brotherhood Week. It was not until 1976 that Dr. Woodson's organization was able to use its influence to establish the shifts from a week to a month, and from Negro history to Black history. Since President Gerald Ford signed that first proclamation in 1976, every American president has designated February as Black History Month and endorsed the theme set forth by the Association for the Study of African American History. This year's theme is African Americans and the Arts. Other countries like Germany and Canada also celebrate Black History Month, along with the United States in February. The United Kingdom, Ireland, and the Netherlands host their own Black History Month celebrations during the month of October, when national leaders and African chiefs gather to settle their differences. Brazil celebrates Black Consciousness Consciousness Day on November 20th. Black history is not a token, but a special tribute, a time of acknowledgement, of reflection and inspiration that comes to life in real and ongoing activities throughout the year. I would like to end with one of my favorite short quotes by Dr. Woodson, as I am sure he was thinking about his race, his people, as he wrote these words. If a race has no history, if it has no worthwhile tradition, it becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated. This was Dr. Woodson's goal, to ensure his race had a history and would never be exterminated. I thank Allah for Dr. Carter G. Woodson, for his strong desire and unrelenting determination to ensure that every American knew the history of Black people, their race, their struggles, the sacrifices, and their many great achievements they made to make this country what it is today. Assalamu alaikum. Wow.
So now I understand where the brother gets his fine speaking skills from. That apple did not fall from the tree. So as part of this program today, we want to break it up a little bit and have a little fun. So we're going to have a thing called Who Am I? We're going to have people come up, they're going to read a quote, or I guess it's mainly just quotes. Right. And what we want you guys to do is after you hear the quote, please raise your hand, and the person that does the quote will call on you and see if you know who the person is that they're talking about in history through the quote. So the first person we're going to have come up is Sister Lucinda Bashad, and she's going to read her quote, and then go ahead, you pick whoever, or I don't know. We don't want people yelling it out, right? So just raise your hand, and the sister can pick you and see if you know who she's talking about. So, Sister Lucinda, come on up.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
You didn't see me on television. You didn't see news stories about me. The kind of role that I tried to play was to pick up pieces or put together pieces out of which I hope organizations might come. My theory is strong people don't need strong leaders. I have always thought that what is needed is a development of people who are interested not in being leaders as much as in developing leadership in others. Who am I?
I'm stumped.
Uh-oh. All right. Who am I? Who?
I think you stumped the crowd, sister.
Tell us. I'll be glad to tell you. Her name was Ella Baker. Not only was she Ella Baker, Ella Josephine Baker, she's also a distant relative of mine. Oh. Ella Baker was with Martin Luther King. She was born in the 1800s, but she went on to go to school. She was born right here in Norfolk, Virginia, in Tanners Creek. It was not the Tanners Creek that you see today, but she was born in Tanners Creek. They had a riot. Her father took her to North Carolina. She was raised in Hertford, North Carolina. We have a memorial for her and a school and different things for her that's going on in North Carolina right now. My great-grandfather, his name was Ben Underdew, married her great-aunt. That's how we got into the relationship. When I found out, I was excited. And that was definitely the person that I wanted to speak about today. And not only did I want to speak about her, but to know that I have a granddaughter that I sent the picture of Ella Baker to her because they both was holding the mic the same way. My granddaughter's an activist in Jacksonville, Florida.
Wow.
That's awesome. All right, that's a good start to that part of the program, isn't it? Yes. So, okay. So this community here grows out of, fast communities, Islam. A lot of focus has always been on business, taking care of the community itself and not look outside the community. And so we do have people within this community who reflect that, who are that, who are actions of that. And in the house with us right now, we have with us a brother named Kareem Hamed, who runs his own business. He's an entrepreneur, and he is an example of what that is supposed to be. So he is going to come up here and enlighten us to how you become successful in business. I believe that's how it's said here. So, Brother Kareem, come on up and share your wisdom with us, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope everyone's doing well. I greet you this morning in peace with the Islamic greeting, Assalamu alaikum. That is peace be unto you. During my discussion today, I would like for this to be an active discussion, so feel free to ask questions during my short presentation. I'll be more than happy to do my very best to try to answer them as best I can. So today, this also is going to be a little bit of regurgitation because I also plan to talk about Carter G. Wilson a little bit. Sister Arlene kind of took that reign and did an excellent job with that. So please forgive me if I kind of repeat or restate some of the information that she's previously provided for you today. And so just want to kind of just give that disclaimer there. So again, today kicks off Masjid William Salon celebration of Black History Month. I will say that it is an honor and a privilege to participate in the celebration and to represent the embodiment of our ancestors' hopes and dreams, notably my late mother and father, Mariam Sadiqa Muhammad, as well as El Hajj Shaheed Abdullah Hamid, respectively. Again, my name is Kareem Hamid. I am a proud member of Masjid William Salon. As an African American who has contributed to this community, it should be noted that African Americans have contributed to the American experience since the first captives were brought to America, specifically Fort Monroe and Hampton, Virginia, approximately 30 miles from Jamestown, just up the road here back in 1619. Although my topic of discussion today is entitled Success in Business, I would be amiss, again, not to expound on the history of Black History Month. Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans in a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history. Also known as African American History Month. Again, the event grew out of Negro History Week, as previously indicated by Sister Arlene, which was created in 1926 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a noted African American historian, scholar, educator, and publisher. It became a month-long celebration incepted in 1976, and since then, again, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Again, other countries around the world, including Canada and the United Kingdom, also devote a month to celebrating Black History Month. I would like to briefly tell my story, if I could. I promise not to bore you with decades and decades of my history, but I did want to kind of touch on my story just a little bit, just to kind of provide some texture, if I may. I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, to the age of 10. Then I moved to Portland, Oregon. After my mother passed away, I moved in with my aunt in Roanoke, Virginia, where I graduated high school. Upon graduating from high school, I joined the U.S. Army for 3 years. I was stationed in Germany for 3 years, and upon returning home to the United States, I began working in banking and taking classes at the local community college. I was determined to succeed, and immediately set personal and professional goals. Goals are very important, as you well know. Goals are important to have a game plan. Goals provide you with a blueprint, a roadmap. Without goals, you don't know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, any road to get you there. Although the environment in which I was initially raised would seemingly preclude individual success. However, I was blessed with a strong, loving, and insightful parents that helped me, that exposed me to opportunities and possibilities beyond my initial circumstances. My current situation, I believe, is a testament to the notion It's not where you're from, more importantly, where you're going. It's not what can be achieved. It's not what can be achieved by your odds, but overcoming those odds. And I think that's vitally important. You cannot let disadvantaged circumstances determine where you end up, where you go. I immediately focused on time management and accounting, being accountable as well, for just about every minute of my day. In addition, I began speaking to everyone I could possibly think of that could possibly help me fulfill my goals and fulfill my dreams. At that time, my dad was my go-to since he went back to school at age 40 and completed his associate's, bachelor's, and then subsequently his master's degree, all while raising 5 children and having a wife. So my dad was also an imam of the community. For those who are listening, who are non-Muslims, that's a Muslim pastor. For those who are unaware. He was also a drug counselor by profession. He was also a public servant and very involved in the community. And I recall him saying that I had no excuse. I had no excuse to be successful, particularly when I had 0 kids and no wife. So having a mentor, a confidant, a motivator like my dad helped me tremendously to navigate through the difficulties and challenges of life. I think it's critically important that you have someone that you could confide in, someone that supports your endeavors. He provided, I will say though, however, he provided tough love. He provided spiritual guidance, he provided wisdom, and then of course he provided financial assistance as well. He told me, you get out of life what you put into it. And chance favors the prepared mind. So preparation is the absolute key, and that's what he instilled in me. So through determination, fortitude, and God's grace, I completed my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in business administration. In addition, I have been blessed to complete banking programs at the University of Virginia, as well as Louisiana State University. I also started a real estate investment firm and began buying, renovating, and selling houses with the help of my real estate investing mentor, Tony Mashur out of Richmond, Virginia. He helped me secure funding for my first few projects through a hard money lender. When I decided to invest in real estate, I researched and read everything I can get my hands on. I researched the industry and began to network with everyone I possibly could. My goals were non-negotiable, and many before me have sacrificed to make these opportunities available for me. So I took them very, very seriously. I lost my mother to breast cancer at the age of 17, and I was determined to make her proud and become a productive citizen of society. It's important to find your motivator, not just money. It's got to be deeper than a financial means. You've got to find something that motivates you and something that inspires you. And if you have the drive for the right reasons, the money will follow. Sure enough, don't worry about that. I was thinking today in regard to business that, I'm a walking economy. And you may ask, well, brother, how are you a walking economy? So, well, my hairline is in recession. My stomach is always in inflation. And these two together bring me into a deep depression. So just a couple of takeaways that I'd like for you to think about in regard to my discussion with you today in regard to business success. Most of us are familiar with the attributes and what's required relative to business success. But I would like a couple of takeaways in regard to this particular endeavor. First of all, I think it's important that you set clear goals with defined timelines, right? So if you, when you set your goal, first of all, the goal should be very, very clear. You should have a vision, and you should have a mission for your goals, and your timeline should be definitive. In other words, it should be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, and 5-year timelines relative to your goals. What do you seek to accomplish within those time frames? Make an unwavering commitment to your success. Begin to think, move, and act like the person you wish to be. It's otherwise known as the self-fulfilling prophecy. Learn to understand business financial statements. If you want to be a business owner, how can you be a business owner if you don't understand the basic financial statements? When I say basic financial statements, I'm referring to a balance sheet, an income statement, a statement of cash flows, a statement of equity. What are the elements of each of those financial statements? How are they interrelated? If you want to be a business owner, you must trust but verify. If you don't watch over your money, someone else will. And yet they may not have your best interest at heart. So if you want to be a business owner, take the time to acclimate yourself, familiarize yourself with the various financial statements and the elements within them. Know your competition. What are others doing in your field? Another thing is to read motivational material. I started out, which I think was very, very instrumental in terms of my mindset change. I started out reading a book called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dennis Kimbro and Napoleon Hill, which is a spinoff of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Dennis Kimbro is a professor from Columbia University, and so he has black stories. Just briefly, if I could, I did want to speak to a story within that book. It's called Acres of Diamonds. And Acres of Diamonds is a story about a farmer who sought riches. And the farmer had acres in which he actually sold the farm and used that money to sought riches. He traveled the world looking for riches, subsequently exhausted all of his funds. Once he exhausted all of his funds, he jumped off the bridge and committed suicide. Well, the individual who actually purchased his farm noticed a very rare, strange-looking rock. He began to investigate this rock because the rock looked very, very strange. And so upon further investigation, that rock was a diamond in raw form. Come to find out, the entire farm was literally filled, the acres were literally filled with these diamonds. The whole time while he was looking externally, outside, for riches, he already had it in his possession. So the moral of the story is, before you go out looking for the wealth that you seek, first look within. First look within what you already possess. Each and every one of us has strengths. Each and every one of us have skills. We have to hone in on those skills and capitalize on those skills. Your network is your net worth. It's absolutely critical you expand your network. It's absolutely critical that you speak to the people within your industry, within your circle. Not only that, expand your circle. As you begin to do that and align with individuals of like-minded and align yourself with the people that you would like to aspire to be, that's going to increase your net worth. People also, another thing too, I think is critically important, having several years now in the business industry. People judge you based on how you dress, how you speak, and how you write. This is an unfortunate occurrence, but this is the society that we live in. And so take note on how you present yourself. Presentation is the absolute key. And so back to the self-fulfilling prophecy. All right, so I think one last thing I will say in regard to business. Now is a great time to start a business and become successful. Why? Well, we have the best job market since the 1960s. Money is circulating abundantly. The stock market is setting records daily. The U.S. has the strongest recovery in the G7 since the COVID shutdown. Some may ask, well, what is the G7? The G7 is the 7 most powerful countries in the world. They include Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, and then of course the U.S. being the most powerful of all. So for young people, you can never be too young to dominate. Look at Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. He's 28 years old, top of the world, best quarterback in the world. You can never be too young to dominate. For those of us that are older, you can be older and still find your rhythm. It's never too late. Black history, I remind you, is American history. Let us honor and embrace our achievements, both past, present, and future. In conclusion, I came in peace and I leave in peace. And I send you off with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, that is peace be unto you.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right, that's gonna be a little hard to follow. So just go ahead and shut down there. Everybody go home and have a good day. Yeah, we went a little out of order if you're looking at your program due to Brother Howard's time constraint issues. So we're gonna get back towards the order of the events of the agenda. So, right, the most important thing here is knowledge, right? And where do we get the knowledge? The knowledge is in books. You are not, the best way, the only way, the realest way to learn is to read a book. You can get the in-depth of everything in a book. You can watch a documentary, you can hear somebody talk, but if you read and you read, you can read on the same subject and you can go deeper and deeper into it. So as part of that, we have the Blyden Library here, who has been serving the community for 100 years. 100 years of the place that you can go get knowledge, right? Books can be expensive, but they're free at the library for your library card. That's all you need. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Good Will Hunting, but there's a scene where they go back and forth, and basically the guy at the end says, you spent $100,000 on an education that you could have got for $1.75 in late charges at the library, right? So it's there, and if you can be autodidactic and learn how to teach, or look at other places and they can show you the way, and then you can go find the knowledge. So we have a person here today named Vincent Green, who is going to represent the Blyden Library, explain the history of it, and what it's providing to the community. But anything that provides books and knowledge is a benefit to the community, because that's where they hit, as I don't have to tell anybody here, that is why people would forbidden to read, forbidden to learn, forbidden to have knowledge, because knowledge is going to give power, right? The story with Frederick Douglass, when his mistress started teaching him reading, he was like, you got to stop that, because he's going to be no use of me if he has knowledge and understanding. There's nothing we can do with him, because he'll know too much and he'll have too much self-esteem. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Brother Vincent Greer to give you the history of the Blyden Library and what it provides to the community currently. So we'll bring up Vincent Greer. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, come on up. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay. I would like to thank all of you for inviting me here to your sacred space. It's an honor to be here. I am happy to be able to have the ability to share a little bit of the Blyden Library's history with you, and encourage you all to come and get a library card if you don't already have one. The Blyden Library is named after William Blyden. He is the first Secretary of State for the African nation of Liberia, which a lot of people don't realize that the African nation of Liberia has its roots here in Norfolk. Our ancestors had the ability to start an African nation, and our communities here tried to keep that contact by naming institutions after people who were responsible for the creation of that nation. What a lot of people don't realize about our library, which is a small branch library, is it is the actual first publicly funded African American library in the state of Virginia, which is important for a number of reasons. The first is Virginia, as you all well know, is one of the first states that was responsible for anti-literacy laws, which most of the slave-holding states in the United States followed suit. It was the blueprint for anti-literacy for African Americans in the United States of America. So to go from a state where it was forbidden to read and write under penalty of death to having a community that understood the importance of literacy to African American children then and now, leading into the future, they came together with the limited resources that they had and created this library in the Mission, well, it was the formal Mission College building that was in Norfolk after the Civil War, when the Union captured Norfolk. the union started the first African American school in the state, and from there, the Blyden Library was formed in the rooms of that Mission College at the time, which evolved to end up becoming Booker T. Washington High School. And excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous.
It's all right, take your time.
The library has just kind of stood the test of time up until today, where it's reached its 100-year anniversary, and I'm responsible for planning the celebrations, which when they gave me the job, tell them like, we're playing my own birthday. Y'all playing an institution as significant as this for the community, but you know, I know who I am, and I took up the challenge, and I understood that this celebration has to be more than me. You know, most people tend to view the world from their perspective, but it takes leadership and strength to be able to see, step outside of yourself and see the broader scheme of things. And that's how I ended up here in your mosque today, because I realized that those African Americans, when they say African Americans created this library, they didn't say Christian African Americans. They didn't say Muslim African Americans. They didn't say Jewish African Americans. They said African Americans. And in planning this celebration, I wanted to make sure I include the Islamic faith, the Islamic community, African American community here in Norfolk to take part of this, because it would be injustice to all of our ancestors to include any group because they don't necessarily align with how I was personally raised or how I personally see the world. Understand that, especially in today's time, that we don't have the luxury of choosing who we want to advance the vision that those who came before us had. I understand that those books, you know, the very nature of a librarian is to hold different recorded texts, whether it be Christian, atheist, Muslim. Those books represent who we are, and as a librarian, it would be absurd, insane for me to have all this information from so many different sources around the world and only offer it to a sect of the community. So that was a little bit of history of the Blyden Library and what we're kind of experiencing right now, what we're working with Ishmael to create, which is 2 events that I have planned for the celebration. One is a block party, so if you want to come, put on your tennis shoes, because we're going to be line dancing. And I also wanted to give, you know, the community a chance to be outside. You know, the sun is one of the most healthiest, all-natural things that we have given to us by God, and I want to encourage outsideness. I want to encourage community. We are naturally social creatures, so having people come together, especially the children, because while we all have our own personal testimonies, COVID took away from children we all had the ability to do, to be with one another, you know, to celebrate with one another, to play with one another. You told groups of children in their developmental phase that they couldn't be with each other. They couldn't be outside. They couldn't go to the mosque. They couldn't go to the church. So this block party is going to give us an ability to show that we can still come together, regardless of who we are, to celebrate and to show the children the community that we had growing up. The other event I'm planning for is more of a refined event. I want to teach the children that it's okay to put on dress clothes. You know, the block party is for the jumpsuits and the tennis shoes. Then this second event, which would be a more refined one, would be for the ability for children to dress up and to see themselves in refinement, to know that that's within their grasp, and also to also celebrate our art and our culture within this community. I'm trying to form a mass choir with the local schools. And this is not an easy task. But it would give us an ability to, one, be together in refinement, and two, sing together, because that's where, at least for me, now this is more of a personal thing, that's when I felt like our community as a whole was its closest, when we all sung together and we all prayed together. So that's what I'm working on, and hopefully, with much prayer, once I have this all organized, Ishmael will be able to share that information with you, and you all will be open to attending both events.
You have been competing against Ibrahim here. I'm trying to get it as focused as I can. So while I was working on this, I didn't know exactly how to do it. I didn't hear everything you said. So me and this brother here went to Mali together to research manuscripts at Timbuktu. And the person that's on the screen here, his name is Ibrahim. He was one of our tour guides. And I wanted to, Assalamu alaikum. Have him come up here so we can have some authentic African presentation here today. So he's in Mali right now. Assalamu alaikum, Ibrahim. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum, Ismail.
All right.
So this is the brother I've been telling you all about right here. This is one of them. Him and his brother Jabril took care of me while I was in Mali and Bamako. Me and the brother Vince here. And I wanted you all to get some authentic Africanism. When we're talking about Black History Month, you can't get no more black than African, right? So you want to say anything, brother? I know I put you on the spot here. They did not know you was going to be presenting, only me and Vince knew. So I'm glad you're able to come. You see, I got my cloth on, right? I got my stuff on. I'm ready to go. So you tell Jabril that I got my stuff on, man, my mud cloth on. You got anything you want to say to us? Can you hear me? You got anything you want to say?
I think he's trying to.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. You got anything you want to say?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Walaikum assalam.
Here, Ibrahim from Mali. Today, I'm very happy to meeting with those people who express something for the African culture. When I was in here in the Mali, there was something different, like in a different life. So here, Ismail with the Venza, he is my friend. I was together here in Mali to visit. They will see the many things for the life and African life. And in the Peru, and then a lot of American black people there. You don't know how's going on in Africa here. They don't know shit.
I can hear you.
I say I was together here making a visit, and then see the many different places in Mali here. Jene, like in the 10,000 good mosques living from Jene, it's calling the Jene Mosque. I think so, every place know in the life, in the woods, and many people know the woods. Like in African Empire, people paint this the mosque, it should be like in 10,000, 12 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Calling the Jene Mosque. And then the Muslim people is here, they want to see how's going on with the African people living in New York and the different players in Europe. So you don't know how's going on here, so that's why we try to find those people to explain that in our culture we can come to visit the Mali, can see our brother how's going on here, because over there, if people can tell him the reality,
Right.
can tell him. In Africa here, and many people come here to stay here because we know our reality, we know our culture. Because the Africa is the same Africa. African people from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Senegal, from Burkina, all is the same. All is a twin, and all is Africa. Africa is Africa. Never different with the African people. Africa same blue, Africa same culture, Africa same name is in Africa.
Alhamdulillah.
And people think it when you live in Europe or when you live in America, you call him American Blackened, and the people think so, you are American, and then you are American Blackened. That is all is the history, because the time the people come from the slavery people wasn't there, but it can use. You don't know, he lost, you don't know how it came from. Think it, you're in the black, I'm in the white, you know, make something like that.
So Ibrahim, where are you at now?
Now I'm in Africa, Mali.
Mali. what city? Are you in Bamako?
I'm in Bamako, near to Bamako.
So lucky you're on a farm. Are you on a farm? Yeah, okay. In Bamako. So Bamako is the city is the capital of Mali. And how many people live in Bamako?
Yeah, 20 million.
20 million people there. Right. So we were in Bamako for most of the time we were there. Then we went to Ségou, we went to Sibi, we went to Genet. And what he was talking about is Genet is where they have the largest built mud mosque. And there was very few people who were able to enter there. And him and his brother helped us get into Genet. According to something that we saw on Wikipedia, In Vogue magazine did a photo out there, and they had someone who was nude or semi-nude in the mosque, so they don't allow American people or people from Genet to come there. So we had to sneak in, and they snuck us in there, and we had a great time. But I just wanted you all to see Ibrahim and have him speak to you all a little bit. I see he's going in and out right now. But Bamako was a beautiful place, and he took us around to a lot of different places. So I wanted you all to get a little bit of that experience that I got while I was in Mali. All right.
Ishmael, you don't mind me explaining why we was there?
No.
Oh, so oh gosh, this is a long story. I'm gonna skim through it to the important parts. All right. So when I was younger, I was definitely raised in one of those old school households. I couldn't go outside, so I read the World Encyclopedia. And I'm not talking about one of those single book World Encyclopedias. I'm talking about volume A through volume Z. And when I thought I got to the end, I had to start all over again. But it did open my mind in a way that it inspired exploration in my mind. These places that I was seeing in this book, I was like, oh, I wanted to go there, or I want to have that kind of dog, or I want to have this kind of car. Being exposed to books at a young age definitely set me on my path. So in this journey of reading books and, being a black man here in America, I got curious about who I was, why am I black here and why are these things happening? And, of course, since I was exposed to books, I went to go and read it in books. And that's how I end up getting connected to Africa, learning about my African heritage. I got to college, I went to Virginia Wesleyan University, and I met two of my best friends, Mohammed and Jabril. Mohammed is a Nubian Egyptian, and he looked just like me, so that was just telling. And then Jabril is from South Norfolk. He was both of them are wonderful representations of the faith, and I started really then learning about African history in Islam. And that's when I learned about the libraries of Timbuktu, and from there, West Africa. And that kind of started me on my journey, because I feel like I might have cracked the code, but I haven't quite put all the pieces together. An economic code, that is, but we'll talk about that at a later time if I have the opportunity. Nevertheless, when I learned about the libraries of Timbuktu, I wanted to become a librarian because if I'm going to research this information, I want to do it from a place of correctness. I didn't want to just be a tourist who goes there and takes some nice pictures and then leave. I wanted to make sure that I have the educational background to approach this area and make sure that I'm giving due diligence and respect to that cultural heritage if I was blessed enough to come in contact with it. Well, I ended up going to get my master's degree in library and information science. It's what you need to become a librarian in most places. You should. But once I did that, I started doing my research because then I was an information professional. And it's kind of symbolistic because my school was in Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh, so I had to go up my mountain to study what I needed to study. And I found out that the British Library had already did a project, and then I found out that another college in the United States had already did a project. And I looked at their resources and contacts for who they work with over there, and I just Facebooked, and Facebook connected me to the person I needed to do. His name was Mr. Yusuf Traore. He is a librarian in Timbuktu working in the ancient libraries. So I spoke to him, I told him about my convictions, and I told him that my ultimate goal was to have those manuscripts digitized to offer in our public library system, and then try to have them incorporated into the education system here in Norfolk, because at this point they're world heritage. And again, being a leader and stepping outside of yourself, even if I'm Christian, I do see the significance of what these libraries are to the world it holds, black children. And I have no problem with being able to take that information and present it to children, because, you know, especially African American children, literacy is very important, and knowing who you are is very important, and fighting against the stereotypes of you not having history, you being illiterate, you not being able to accomplish great things, your history starting in slavery. Well, these are manuscripts that date back to the Roman Empire, written by African people under the faith of Islam, and I thought that, you know, children should know about it. Well, it was during COVID. I flew out there. I said, you know, I had nothing else better to do, sit in the house, so I flew to Mali and only knew this one person, and he was late getting to the airport where I was at, so I was just in Mali in the middle of the night, not knowing a single person, and turning my life over to the Lord at this point. This was an interesting situation, but then I ended up meeting Ibrahim, and he was the only English speaker there, and you know, they say the Lord looks out for babies and fools, and I just guess so happened I was a fool for flying out there, but the Lord looked out for me, and I made that connection, and from that connection, I was able to bring that information back here, and then starting to plan for the centennial, I met Ishmael. And Ishmael, I told him about it. I was like, you know, now I'm going back for my second phase to digitize, and you know, now that I work for NPL, because I work on a plan. This was like a 10-year plan. I apologize. This was a 10-year plan that I've been working on. So I had put myself in the position where I could have direct access to library information. I got my resources, and then when I met Ishmael, and he was like, well, can I go with you the next time you go? Like, it would be almost blasphemous for me to have this email here, who have the access to go to such a significant place in the history of Islam and African Americans, and not invite him. So I said, oh, of course we can go, and I planned the trip, and we flew out there, and we met with the Imam from Timbuktu, Sankore University, which was founded in 1325 by Emperor Mansa Musa. and we digitized some works that's now in the Norfolk Public Libraries. We're just working on the systems and the protocol to make sure it's secure. And while Ishmael was out there, he met business contacts, and now we're starting to build that bond, and that's essentially how we got to this point today. So I highly suggest that if any of you do have the opportunity, time, or resources to go, I suggest you go. When I went out there, so many stereotypes, aka curses, was wiped away from my eyes, and I was able to see that I was an African man in an African location being accepted for who I am, irregardless of where I come from. Everywhere I went, it was like, welcome home, hi brother. You know, they asked us questions, and I sincerely believe that if you all were to go to this location, y'all would be accepted as well. So that was essentially my presentation, and I'd like to thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Small so that was great, right? So I something I wondered, and I just wondered this out loud when he said that, you know, that what became Booker T. Washington was Mission College, and I wonder if Spike Lee has some history of that when he called the college Mission College in School Days. I just wondered that as you talk, that's something he was aware of, or it just happened to be what he picked, you know, just saying mission, you know, as a mission, or if he actually knew that history. I'd like to pick his brain and ask if he actually knew that, because I did not know that till you spoke on that, so that was pretty good.
I appreciate that. I'll look into that.
Yeah, because it just hit me. I was like, wow, Mission College, that's exactly, I was like, wow, I didn't even know that history, and you know, he's, you know, pretty well-learned man himself, so I don't doubt he may have known that, so that would be interesting to know. I also thought about something else you were talking about, and Brother Kareem talked about, you know, your appearance and stuff like that. So that's important because this community, in its first stance in the nation and growing, it was really about how you presented yourself, and you know, how important that was. And I don't know if any of you know, especially brothers, when you walk in here, if you're looking a certain way, Brother Waleed will let you know that, and will ask you, not so kindly, to either put a thong on or turn around and find something better to wear. So that's something that has stayed with this community, and I think has been important, because I think, from my understanding, what Elijah Muhammad was talking, that was also the internal self-pride, right? Like, you present yourself in a certain way with your head up and your shoulders back, right? So I think that's important, and how that's consistent all the way through. The other thing is, you know, we're talking to the brother in Africa with Google and everything. As a librarian, I know this is one of those things where, like, we have more access to knowledge, and yet it seems like people have less knowledge, right? Because I remember, like, you reading the encyclopedia, having to go look at the catalog cards and cross-reference and find the book, you know, go find it and pull the information. Now I can literally Google it, and I feel like sometimes our youth get lazy because of that, as opposed to having to do the research that creates something, that creates understanding, how to find knowledge, how to, you know, get some, you know, structure to the knowledge, as opposed to just all this stuff coming at you and half of it not meaning anything. So I think that's important, that we still have libraries and that people still go to the libraries.
It's a form of organization. So our minds are developed to put things into categories. We naturally do those things. And prior to the internet age, we had, there was a set time where we learned information. There was a set time where we ate, set time where we prayed. But in today's time, like you said, information comes at us so much that even our adult minds have not developed in a way to take not just information, but the diversity of information. Whereas, say, if you went into a science class, you will only learn science for that time period. Now, if you scroll through Instagram, you're going to see everything from religious quotes to how to make money to how men and women should interact with each other all in
Absolutely.
5 minutes, and that definitely affects how we view the world in general. Not just that, the information that's placed in front of us. If you are a person who doesn't understand information, how information influences our vision of the world, and if your music is bad, your food, you know, if your music is bad, the television is showing negativity, your video games are showing negativity, your music is showing negativity, the politicians are talking about negativity, then your mind may very well develop into a you start to see the world from a negative standpoint. When Ishmael and I went to Mali, they didn't have as much access to information, but for what they had, they genuinely were typically happy people. I'm not gonna say they didn't have their own issues, but the mental health crisis that we're experiencing now was not necessarily the same thing they was experiencing there. And I do highly believe that it's because of our information that's being placed in front of us. Not to mention, like, for instance, libraries are public places, publicly funded. We have no, in theory, we should have no motivation to be financial motivation to push one agenda or another, because everyone has access to it. Whereas Google is a financial institution, and you are paying the most to have your information put to the top.
That's what people are gonna absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, just the processing of information in any field, in regards to gender, in regards to math, in regards to science, even in regards to religion, is very important and definitely needs to be studied further. So I apologize.
No, absolutely. So you took words out of my mouth about structure, so that's what's important. So we're gonna continue on. We're gonna do a little bit of the breakup right here with another Who Am I? And so speaking of youth and knowledge, we have one of the younger brothers here that's in the masjid. That's good to see. It's good to see the youth. And real quick, what you were talking about in Mali too, I'd be so bold to offer that the structure of Islam helps with that structure, that helps them keep some of that bad stuff out of their brain, because they are forced to be structured, and they have a cohesive culture that we don't have here too, right? Everybody's kind of on the same plane and about the same thing. So
I'm gonna lie, I was very surprised where on Friday I had never seen a whole city shut down.
Yeah.
I had never seen people come together and just like pray in like in such large groups that it starts spilling outside of the mosque. I was highly impressed. It definitely added structure to those people's lives that I, as a person that doesn't necessarily follow the faith, was highly humbled and thought was beautiful.
Absolutely. And and then a little bit of one more quick thing to the negativity that goes into it's the music. So even today, some of the music is negative, but I come up from a time when the music actually directed me to exactly right here where I'm standing. So I had Chuck D, I had the Brand New Beans, I had the Poor Righteous Teachers, and other people that were just, even in the Afrocentricism, the Jungle Brothers or whatever, it was all making you think in a different way. And for me, it exposed me to cultures I would have never got in a standard education. So that is very important. What goes into you, as much as what you eat and what you put in here, is very, very important. So so back to the youth, I'm gonna get ready. We're gonna do another Who Am I? Brother Kareem's gonna come up here and read the quote, and then if you know who it is, Sister Lucinda set quite a standard for you to follow, because she had everybody stuck. So inshallah, you come on up and do your quote.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Got a quick little excerpt. I'm gonna read it to y'all. Y'all can guess. That until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, that until there are no longer first-class and second-class citizens of any nation, that until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes.
I know.
Should I keep going?
Keep going. We gotta keep going.
That until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, that until the day the dream of a lasting peace and world citizenship and the rule of international morality will remain but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained, and until the ignoble and unhappy regimes that hold our brothers in Angola, in Mozambique, I might have butchered that, and in South Africa in subhuman bondage have been toppled and destroyed, until bigotry and prejudice and malicious inhuman self-interest have been replaced by understanding and tolerance and goodwill, until all Africans stand and speak as free beings equal in the eyes of all men as they are in the eyes of heaven, until the day that the African continent will not know peace, we Africans will fight in necessary and we will know that we shall win, and we are confident in the victory of good and evil, over evil. Who am I?
All right. The rule was you got to raise our hand.
Yeah,
And then I wasn't picking anybody that raised their hand. I didn't know the answer. No, go ahead. I'm just joking.
So who am I?
Is it Haile Selassie?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was his address to the United Nations in 1962.
Dope. Yeah, who picked that, man? That was dope. All right, so all right.
We have a gift for you. So when they do these school masters, we have gift cards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So they,
He's the
So,
first one.
I want to do Who Am I?
Who picked it? No, somebody, who picked Lucinda's? Did nobody got it?
No, she stumped everybody with Ella Baker.
Okay.
She had Ella Baker, nobody got it.
Okay.
And then she showed that she was also related in the history. So, yeah. So, you want to keep or we want to?
So our prayer is about to be in 10 minutes. I know that you have to go. Do you have time for us to pray? And I know it sounds bad to say. You do? It sounds bad to say no, right? I'll put you on the spot. Our prayer is only like 6 to 8 minutes. So we'll do it. But it'll start at 11 and in like 11 minutes though. So we have a little bit of time in the meantime.
Yeah, so,
This is what we'll do. I had two people that were my guides in Mali. One of them just called me. So I'll see if I can get him on the line as well for this next 10 minutes. And then we'll pray. And after we pray, it'll only take about 8 minutes to be honest with you. And then we'll get back to the program. So what I'm gonna do now is try to reach out to him and have him talk to us a little bit, and then we'll pray.
in the meantime, while he's getting that, start preparing for the sister Nakia, right? Nakia, he's going to talk about community activism. So, I mean, I'm looking around. I see the original Black Panthers in here. My brother Fats in here, and these are people that I've been seeing since. I mean, I've been doing this. At least community activism since like 94, 90, I think we've known each other since 95, Fast.
Yes, something like that, yes, sir.
So, yeah, so, you know, see people cycle around, you know, we used to always be right over here at Brother George's store, building, getting information, connecting, you know, that's one thing I really miss about Brother George's store. You come through there on a Friday evening or a Saturday, you're about to get in some real deep conversations and stuff, and you could talk about anything, discuss anything, except there were two things you weren't going to do. You were not going to be critical of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Other than that, everybody can talk about everything and break it down with your opinion and your perspective. But I appreciated that. And so while we're there, the date, so you see me as a Caucasian up here. In 1990, I walked into Brother George's store and said, I want books on Islam. Brother George, knowing where he came from, who he is, he didn't blink an eye. He said, right on the black wall right there, brother. And that man was very good to me for the entire time that I knew him while he was on this planet. I appreciate him. I appreciate everything he ever did and gave me in there. And I connected with many of you because of Brother George, because of that store, because of the welcoming room. You know, we're talking about Black history, but I can tell you right here, from my perspective, what I appreciate is this community has always allowed me in with open arms. I've never felt animosity. I've never felt pushed away. And I just want to thank all of you for that. Just from my heart, I appreciate that, because I've been around a lot of you. I know I keep calling him Fast Al, but I've known him in the activist community and people that are about it. I appreciate they never blinked the eye at me. And, you know, I got some, you know, I'm going to check you for a minute and see how you move. Let's see, you know, if you're a voyeur or you're playing games. But alhamdulillah, Allah put me on this path, and you guys allow me to walk this path behind you, because you guys are paving it. I'm just here, just trying to follow along and be supportive and be a mujahideen, to be a warrior for change. So, alhamdulillah.
You've been genuine with it the whole time, brother.
I appreciate it. Because unfortunately, a lot of my ancestors ain't so good, so. Mashallah, I can put a different face on that. So I just want to say appreciate it. How you coming, brother? Smile.
Yes.
You got it?
No, I don't have him. I thought I had him. He didn't answer. I'm gonna try one more time.
Okay.
But we got like 7 minutes before the prayer, so if everybody wants to pause for a little bit.
And those of you who are Muslim, I hope you appreciate, you know, to watch the prayer and see how we move as a community and the unison that's there, because that's the other thing that drew me to Islam is there is a sincere brotherhood that is, we're one culture, right? Like he could be a mommy and pray, and everybody may not speak the same language, but everybody knows exactly what to do, how to move, and we can't even communicate and have a conversation, but in the masjid, we know exactly what we're doing. We can look at each other and know exactly what the brother's going to do, what he's going to say. So that is the universality of Islam that I found as well. So I really have appreciated that, and that's what drew me here. But like I was saying, through the music and the people, I know Islam through the Nation of Islam first. I know Islam through Black Americans. That's how I know Islam. That's how I came to it, that's how I've been taught it, and that's how I always understand it, and that's how I always love it. So I will always go back to those people as my mentors, as the ones who taught me. So, you know, whatever problems we have in the bigger world, those brothers are the ones that taught me, and they will always be my heroes, from Malcolm to you know, everybody that's involved, Imam, Siraj in Brooklyn, everybody. And even to Brother Ismail, still teaching me to this day, making me lead salats when I'm very nervous about my Arabic.
I don't make him do anything.
Well, if you're gonna lead salat, brother, isn't making me. I guess that was a choice, huh?
Well, we have like 5 minutes, and I couldn't get the brother. Maybe if we had somebody that wanted to do.
You want to do another? Who am I?
Anybody got one?
I'll do mine because it's quick.
Okay,
okay.
All right then. Sister Lee's gonna come up here and do her. Who am I?
Because everybody's going to know who I am.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it off because I'm thinking of it.
So I am Aline Sophia Ashanti, daughter of Nina Sharifa Muhammad, daughter of, oh my God, Loris Gang. My mom was a Muslim, alhamdulillah. She lived to be 97 years old. And she was a warrior, she was a fighter. So I come from a strong lineage of strong women. My grandmother had 17 children that she birthed. Yeah, my mother was raised in the Deep South, but she converted to Islam when my brother, which is only he's only 5 years older than me, but he was introduced to the Nation of Islam. And my mother seen the change in him. Not that he was a bad child, but his aura changed. And she said, it must be something to that Islam. And she doing it. And I was a minor, so I had to follow her at the time. And I stuck with Islam because it was right in my soul. Because I was one of those kind of children. Always had a cross on my neck. Always went to Sunday school, even if I wasn't made to. And I always believed in God. So when I was introduced to Islam, it just felt good in my heart. And here I am today. So alhamdulillah, I have a nephew that's a Muslim. My children were raised Muslim. They still a work in progress as adults. And then my brother and his family are Muslims. So alhamdulillah for that, which means praise be to God. Okay, so I am gonna do a quote, and I know all of y'all are gonna know who it is. Okay. How can I have a boy while no man has touched me? I have not been unchaste. Who am I?
Mary. No, you gotta raise your hand.
Oh.
First hand went up with the sister right here.
Yeah, what's your name, sister?
Me?
Yeah.
Sister Ayana.
Ayana.
Yes.
Tell us who I am.
It's Prophet Miriam.
Yes, ma'am. Miriam is Jesus' mother, which is Mary, and Miriam is Arabic from Mary. Okay. So I told you y'all was gonna get them quick.
All right, y'all. So we got a few minutes real quick. Assalamu alaikum. So I got the brother on really quickly.
My brother, how are you?
I'm doing well. Alhamdulillah. How are you? So this is Jabril. This is the other brother that walked us around, toured us around in Segu, Janae, Sibi, Bamako. So if you could give us a word of advice, or give us some good words today. So far, so good.
So far, so good always.
So what you got? Where are you today?
Today I'm in Ivory Coast.
America.
Ivory Coast.
On the Ivory Coast. So this brother is a tour guide all over the place, so it's hard to catch him in Mali. He was in Senegal, a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks ago.
So if you all see any of my videos, he is the person that was telling us about the history of every city, every village in Mali. You see this infectious smile he has here, right? Every village we went to, he would say, what's the thing you said to everybody that you met?
So far, so good.
No, you said when you greeted everybody, you asked them how they're doing, how their mama doing, how their sister doing. What you said in your language. What was it you said?
Local language.
Right. Right. Every single person that we met, he said that too, right? And they opened up to him immediately when he did that. So I asked him, I was like, what was you saying to him? He said, I was saying hi. I said, no, you wasn't. You said more than hi to him. Because it was one young guy that was in the farm, and he was working. Everybody else was working, so he was, you could tell he was tired. So he was just sitting there upset. And then he came over to him, and he said, how you doing? How your mama doing? How your daddy doing? How your cousins doing? And the little boy warmed up to him, and everybody everywhere did that. And this is the brother also that got us into Janae, got us all over the place. He has his own tour, his own touring business, right? He's basically a professional at tourism in West Africa. He knows everything about everything in West Africa. He also is the person who made these clothes for him. These are mud cloths, right? They're made from the plants and mud from the Niger River. And this thing right here is super thick and very warm. I don't know what you're gonna do with it when it's 100 degrees in Mali every day, but we need it. So I'm glad that you were able to show up. You have anything you want to say to us? Because we're about to do a prayer.
I will. Then also there is Ibrahim right now on the workshop in Bamako.
Oh, that's where he was? Yeah, he said it was in Bamako.
Yeah, you can maybe if it's possible to be on a video call.
Oh, we just talked to him. We talked to him about 30 minutes ago. We had a chance to talk to him. You're freezing up. So this is also the brother, him and Ibrahim.
Okay. And he can show the workshop also to your friend.
Okay.
Now he's in the workshop.
So we are about to do prayer. I'm going to say one more thing before I go. Is that this brother right here used a donkey or a mule to carry all of the desk and everything required for a school, all the way from town, all the way to the river. In is it Janae or Segu? In Segu. Everything individually, and then he took it over the water, all the way to an island in Segu, and built a school. This guy right here, him, the other guy Ibrahim, and 2 other people built the school for the people on the island with nothing. It was fisabilillah, just for the sake of Allah, just for the sake of people learning and getting knowledge. I was so happy and thrilled to have met this man right here. Him and his brother and 2 other brothers are phenomenal people. He said he did this because when he was younger, it was hard for him to get an education, and he didn't want that to be the case for younger people. So he took every piece of desk, every seat, everything, carried it on a donkey, and then on a boat all the way to this island individually. That's the person that we are talking to right now. So I wanted you all to see these people, that is amazing people in this world, and I'll stay connected with him for the rest of my life, and inshallah in the hereafter. All right, brother, we do have to pray, so I'm going to talk to you later, all right? Assalamu alaikum. Oh yeah, let me show you so everybody can see you. And also, man, I wasn't even recording myself. So can you see everybody? Nope. Oh, this one. Yeah, all right. This is everybody. Everybody here behind me. All right, brother. I do have to go. All right, assalamu alaikum.
Very happy.
So our guests, while we're making prayer, you can go in the dining area, grab a chair if you want to, and you can go ahead and eat. We have some food back there.
Yeah, so while we're praying, y'all can go back there and get some food because it's getting cold now.
Yeah, he's brought all the chairs out here.
Yes.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.